Well, hi, all my LGBT friends and others. You know, uh, Everybody's talking about the Hillary thing and Trump. I think Trump is so smart not to even go at the health thing. I mean, number one, it's not Christian. Okay. Two, it's smart, just smart, and let everybody else do it. He can just pounce in on all of her deplorable comments and just how she really does think about American people. It's so obvious the elites don't care about you, so that's what he's harping on, and I think that's brilliant. Thank you for your well wishes, by the way. It's an allergy thing. It keeps going into my chest, and then I have to keep getting it cleared up, and I just need a way to dry out my head, and I've been using Flonase. I'm going to try some Benadryl tonight. I don't know. Anyway, I'm looking over here because I'm looking at all my pills and crap. I wanted to read chapter 30 of Numbers and get that going. I think we only have 6 or so chapters left in Numbers. I'd like to get going through that. What else? The other thing that's kind of bugging me a little bit, remember the big old long speech that Bill gave about his beloved wife and all this stuff? What, all the malarkey that he was talking about, which was, boring as all get out, because we all know it's just, baloney what he's talking about when he talks about her. So where's he been? He hasn't come out to my darling wife is, recuperating from, how dare you, make these, accusations against her. And no, he doesn't, where is he? He's out campaigning, so we know who wears the pants in this, I mean, oh my God, it just unbelievable. And then, the other thing too are all of these deaths around Hillary and Bill. Anytime anybody comes against her, they end up dying. Okay, the DNC guy that Scott somebody that said this was the most satisfying thing I ever did, and he served them papers against what they were doing against Bernie Sanders. And other staffers who've been found dead. And what's going on? They've got the FBI, they have the police, they have everybody in their pockets, and then they're in George Soros's pocket, and God knows who else. Kissinger's and the Soros and the Koch, the Walkers, the Rockefellers, and they're, that's who's running the show here. Look, you and I actually have the power. We are the majority, and we need to rise up and say enough is enough. We who are Christians also have the Lord in us. We have the light, we have the power, and we need to shine that on what's going on. And people just need to keep waking up and keep waking up. Anyway, okay. So, yeah, all right. I'm just waiting on the Lord to give me a word or something to remember to talk to you guys about. All right, so Numbers chapter 30, vows are not to be broken. Of a maid's vow or a widow's or of her that is divorced. Okay, and Moses spoke unto the head of the tribes concerning the children of Israel, saying, this is the thing which the Lord hath commanded. If a man vow a vow unto the Lord, or swear an oath to bind his soul with a bond, he shall not break his word. He shall do according to all that proceedeth out of his mouth. If a woman also vow a vow unto the Lord, and bind herself by a bond, being in her father's house in her youth, and her father hear her vow and her bond wherewithin she hath bound her soul, and her father shall hold his peace at her, then all her vows shall stand, and every bond wherewith she hath bound her soul shall stand. Women just didn't have the equal rights that they do today. So I think that has to do with cultural thing as well, okay? But let the sun shine, okay, but if her father disallow her in the day that he heareth not any of her vows or of her bonds wherewith she had bound her soul, shall stand, and the Lord shall forgive her, because her father disallowed her. And if she had at all a husband which she vowed or uttered out of her lips, wherewith she bound her soul, and her husband heard it, and held his peace at her in the day that he heard it, then her vow shall stand, and her bonds wherewithin she bound her soul shall stand. But if her husband disallowed her on the day that he heard it, then he shall make her vow which she vowed, and that which she uttered with her lips, wherewith she bound her soul, of none effect, and the Lord shall forgive her. But every vow of a widow and of her that is divorced, wherewith they have bound their souls, shall stand against her. And if she vowed in her husband's house, or bound her soul by a bond with an oath, and her husband heard it, and held his peace at her, and disallowed her not, then all her vows shall stand, and her bond within her wherewith she bound her soul shall stand. But if her husband hath utterly made them void on the day he heard them, then whatsoever proceeded out of her lips concerning her vows, or concerning the bond of her soul, shall not stand. Her husband hath made them void, and the Lord shall forgive her. This is all cultural, because the man had power over the women of that day, I believe. Every vow and every binding oath to affect a soul, her husband may establish it, or her husband may make it void. But if her husband altogether hold his peace at her from the day to day, then he established all her vows, or all her bonds, which are upon her. He confirmeth them, because he held his peace at her in the day that he heard them. But if he shall in any ways make them void after that he had heard them, then he shall bear her iniquity. Okay? So it's going to fall back on him. And then are the statutes which the Lord commanded Moses between a man and his wife, between the father and his daughter, being yet in her youth in her father's house. So if you were, still a young girl and unable to, be on your own, you weren't married yet, then your own dad, father, whatever, would take the role of the husband. So, okay, so that's all I'm going to read today, because I want to keep preserving my voice, because I have to go work and use my voice a lot. So, yeah, so we still need to be praying for people that we care about, and their health, and that, don't become too stressed about things that are happening. They're happening for a reason. It will be for God's glory. God will use all of this for his glory in some way that we may not even fully understand at all. We just don't have the eyes to see what's really going on. We are in these physical bodies, and we don't really see what's actually out there. We're sort of, blinded to it, I believe, because of, what's going on. This thing in the GOP calling for the HRC's tech expert to testify about her private email server. They just subpoenaed them to show, the 302s. Anyway, one way or another, Hillary is going to suffer, and the Lord will take care of that judgment. That's up to Him. With all of these things that are going on, all the evil that's happening, believe me, justice will be served, and we need to be praying to the Lord for that, and that we get good people in the White House, people like Trump and Pence, and who knows who they're going to try to replace her with. Names are coming out there like, it doesn't have to be the VP, because the DNC can choose whoever they want. They could choose Biden. They can choose. By the way, her handlers who helped her into the van, those guys should be fired. She almost did a face plant right into that van. I mean, the poor woman. She should have just told the truth to begin with. But, that's Hillary. She's been a liar from the beginning. She's the seed of Satan. She's a liar, she has been, and that's all she knows to do. And that's just too bad, She speaks for herself, when she points her little bony fingers at people. She's speaking about herself. And that's why I think Trump is brilliant about, talking about that, because she doesn't care about you or me. Anyway, but I do. I care about you guys and getting God's word, and do be praying to Him daily. Talk to Him. All of your good thoughts go up to Him. It makes a difference. Your prayers make a difference. Whether you can see it happening or not, have faith, believe, and keep trucking on, as they say. Okay, you guys. Have a good day, good week. I'll be talking to you soon. All right. Bye-bye.